Okay guys, here I am for an incredibly scientific test on the Concept 2 bike erg. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mess around with these damper settings, and I'm just going to kind of play around with this very simple test. I am going to do 30-second intervals at 65 RPMs, and I'm going to start at damper setting 1, and then I'm going to work my way all the way up to damper setting 2, doing the best I can to maintain 65 RPMs. I know there's going to be a variable, error factor in there, but I'm going to be as consistent as I can, and I just want to see how many meters I get in each 30-second interval at the same effort level, the same RPM level. And then what I'm going to do is just look at those trends. I'm going to see what the average is across all 10 damper settings, what the difference is between each time you go up a damper setting, how many more meters do I get. Going to take a look at where the sweet spots might be, where the diminishing returns might be. So anyways, if you love very scientific tests and you love riveting video, stay tuned. Okay, so the exciting test begins. Here we go. Damper setting 1, 141 meters. Damper setting 2, trying to keep that 65 RPM, going to end up with 156 meters. Damper setting 3, 171 meters. Damper setting 4, 188 meters. So we've been pretty consistent going up each damper setting. Here we are at damper setting 5. We're going to end up with 206 meters. Staying fairly consistent here with the RPMs. Damper setting 6. This is when we see a nice big jump up to 228 meters. This is probably where I felt the best. Damper setting 7 also wasn't bad at 246. But here, once we started getting up to damper setting 8 at 257 meters, it started to feel like the effort to hold the 65 RPMs just wasn't worth the extra meters. Damper setting 9 at 267. And then damper setting 10 was just way too hard, barely even got but 6 more meters than at damper setting 9. Okay, so that was a riveting test. Definitely a double-blind, peer-reviewed clinical study, completely accurate on the Concept 2 bike erg and how the different damper settings work. So this is unarguable data, but let's just go over it, okay? So real quick, okay? So this is all the different damper settings 1 through 10. If you like a visual, you can take a look right here, right? We got 141, then on number 2, 156, damper setting 3, 171, all the way down to damper setting 10, where we got 273 meters, okay? So I did the math for you. This is an average of 13 meters more at an RPM of 65. Kind of. All right. So first of all, it's harder than I thought to keep one specific number when you're really trying to. But, all in all, my error factor was probably very similar on each damper setting. So I still think this is fairly close when we come to an average. Okay. So I did my best to hold RPMs of 65 for 30 seconds. And then I did that 10 different times at all the different damper settings. And this is the data that I came up with. That's just for people who like to kind of geek out and wonder about damper settings. And if you kind of want to analyze these further, I think you'll see that we all kind of know there's some diminishing returns down here. These numbers start to get a lot less. Down here we went with 11, 10, and then what is this, 7, 6? There's my math right there, right? Then 6 at the end. So definitely, and most people aren't using these higher damper settings anyways, but I also think it's interesting just to mess around with different damper settings and maybe just have a little better idea of how it works and where you're most efficient. So this is just kind of for people who like to nerd out on numbers. Maybe you've never had the opportunity, or you just realize, I don't have what it takes to do such a boring test, but here's the data if you're interested. So the question is, what do you think of this data?
Oh, that looks good. That looks good.
Okay, time to put some of this data to test. Gonna do me a little workout here on the Bike Erg. Gonna try out some different damper settings and see how it works. Do me a favor, comment below. Let me know what your favorite damper settings are. Do you have a different damper setting for meters or for calories? I'd like to know what you guys are using. Hit me up in the comments, like, subscribe to Old Guy Inc. I'm gonna try to keep making some videos. Peace.